Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna do really quick video, just a 21 reads of 2021, 21 books I want to read in 2021. I have so many books on my TBR that I want to read, so many. It almost feels like I will never get to all of them with how many that I have. So these are not by any stretch of the imagination all the books that I want to read in 2021, not even anywhere close. And these really probably, if I'm honest, aren't even my top 21. These are just the 21 reads that I don't think I would have normally got to if I didn't write them down. That's what this video is. Number 1, You Must Not Miss by Katrina Leno. I don't know a whole lot about this book. I believe it's a thriller or horror. I know it's weird. That's what I've heard, that it's weird, but that it's good. So I want to give it a shot. Anything that's kind of weird, I like to read. So second one is Dark House by Corinna Halley. I think that's how you say her name. This is like a horror and romance. Excuse me. So I'm super stoked to read that and kind of figure out what the heck is going on. How do you have a horror and a romance together at the same time? I don't know, but I'm gonna find out. Third book, Ultraviolet by R.J. Anderson. I believe this is a sci-fi. Again, don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm pretty excited to read it. You'll kind of catch that theme. A lot of these books, I like to know enough to get me intrigued, and then most times I forget what they're about. And then when I pick them back up, I kind of am just going in blind because I forget. I genuinely forget what they're about, so sorry. 4, Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay. This one's a Jane Eyre retelling, kind of, I believe. Jane Eyre I love. I absolutely love Jane Eyre. So that's pretty much the only reason, that's all I needed to know to pick this book up. So, next one. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. So I've heard a lot about this one on BookTube. My mother-in-law has read this one and she told me it was super, super good. So bunch of recommendations for this one, so that's kind of why I want to give this one a shot. The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black. I've only ever heard one person talk about this, I think. It's a fantasy. Again, don't know anything about it, but I want to read it. Okay, the next one is The Psychology of Time Travel by Kate Mascarenas. I saw one person talk about this book and it seemed pretty interesting to me. I do like time travel. I've only read a couple books with time travel. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. So I wanted to give this one a shot and see what I thought about it. All right, next book, Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. I don't know that I've heard anyone talk about this book, if I'm honest. It's a romance. It's a pretty steamy romance from what I've read, and it's also pretty dark. I do like that in my romances. Sometimes I like for them to be a little taboo or a little kind of questionable. Like, should I be reading this? Should I want these characters to be together? Sometimes I like that. This one I kind of feel like is like that from what I've read online. So, I want to give it a shot. All right, the next book that I want to read is Sealed by Naomi Booth. This is a horror and has to do with motherhood, pregnancy. Something bad happens during pregnancy. I don't really know. Oh my God, should I even be making this video because I don't know anything about these books. Either way, this is the next one that I want to read. And the next one is The Shining by Stephen King. I have started this. I'm just a little bit of the way into it, not enough to have really much of an opinion, other than I'm not super into it yet. It's not my favorite, but I'm hoping that it gets better because I've heard so many great things about this book from Noelle and many other people. And it's the Late Night Book Club's book pick for January, so I want to go ahead and read it this month. Next one is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. This is a fantasy, a standalone fantasy, which we all love, and it's really short. So like, why have I not read it yet? I don't know. And it's also stunning. It's on the to-do list. Next on the list is Lost Gods by Brom. Books with Brittany, that's where I got this recommendation from. Again, typical me, no idea what it's about. Something she said in her video talking about it, she's talked about it multiple times. She's talked about Brahm in general multiple times. Something in one of her videos made me want to pick this up. So it's a horror. I will get to it. All right, next we have Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I've heard mixed things about this series. Some people really, really love it. Some people don't like it at all. They find it boring. So, but I want to give it a shot, just like everything else on the list. Next on the list is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. This one I've heard so much about from so many people. I've heard that it's fantastic. So I'm gonna give it a shot. It's about vampires, I think. It's like a historical fiction with vampires. We'll see what it's about. Hope I like it. Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. Have not read this and I have not seen the movie. I'm not sure what spurred me on to decide to try to read it now, this year, but it's on my list. So we're gonna give it a shot. Next is Ring Shout from P. DeJelly Clark. I have heard a few people talking about this book. It's a horror about the Ku Klux Klan, and that's really all I know. I want to get more into horror this year. I have quite a few horror books on my physical TBR and a lot on my want to read list. I want to start getting to them. I've never actually been scared by a book before. I would like for that to happen. So I want to give horror more of a shot this year. So that's why there's quite a few horror books on this list. All right, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. No idea if I said that right. This is a nonfiction. I have always been fascinated by the human body and what it can do, what we don't know what it can do, all those things. So this is kind of a nonfiction, I think, about trauma in the human body, I think. I could be totally wrong, but we'll find out. The Night Swim by Megan Golden. Heard a lot of things about this book. I've heard that there's some pretty bad trigger warnings in it for some things that I don't usually like to read about, but for whatever reason, because I keep hearing good things about it, I want to give it a shot. So I'm going to try to read this one. If I can't finish it, then it probably won't be the book's fault. Just like My Dark Vanessa, I read like half of that and then I had to put it down, not because it was badly written or a bad book. I can 100% recognize that it's a well-written book, but I couldn't finish it, and I have a feeling The Night Swim might be like that from what I've heard, but we'll find out. The King's General by Daphne du Maurier. I have read 3 books by Daphne du Maurier. I've read Rebecca, My Cousin Rachel, and The Frenchman's Creek. Liked Rebecca pretty well. Loved My Cousin Rachel. Was not too happy with Frenchman's Creek. So I want to read another of her books, see how I feel about it. So The King's General, just kind of on this list because I want to work through what she's written and see overall kind of what my opinion of her and her writing is in general. Next one is Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. This is another nonfiction about humans, if we're catching a theme. So yeah, same reasons as the other nonfiction. We will see. I like to learn. I like to know what's going on with the human body. I find it fascinating. So we'll give that one a shot. And the last book on my list is Once and Future by Amy Rose Capetta and Corey McCarthy. I started this book on audio last year sometime, and at that time, I was not very good at listening to audiobooks. I know that sounds strange, but my mind always wandered. I couldn't stay focused. I didn't like it very much. So I put it down and I bought the physical copy because I wanted to physically read it because I felt like I could get more out of it and I felt like I would like it better. But I did listen to, I did really like, so I am excited to continue with this. This is a gender-bent King Arthur retelling. So I'm really, really excited to read this one. That is all 21 of the books that I wanted to add to my list of things to read for 2021. Like I said, books that I felt like I wasn't going to read if I didn't put them on a list. Books that I needed to give myself a bit of a push for. Not necessarily books that I'm most excited for, most anticipated, nothing like that. Just books that I want to get to, but I felt like would probably still sit on my shelves if I didn't give myself a little bit of a push. So Let me know any of your thoughts about any of these books. I would love to know. And chat with me a little bit about them. Let's see if we can get some good conversations going. So that's it for me today. I will see everyone next time. Bye.